Hello everyone, my name is Ziamaro and welcome to Battlerite Sage. Today let's talk about how we can keep the game growing. It's interesting because this is something I was going to be covering this weekend anyway, but it's like links to read my mind and we've had the same idea, so I've kind of adapted what I was going to do a little bit so we can both add to the discussion. It's certainly no coincidence that we've both decided to do something like this at the same time, and there's a good chance that this is something that's on all of our minds. It's been a little over 2 months since the game was released and the honeymoon period is over now, so naturally we come out of our bubbles and start to question, is the game going to keep growing or not? And is there anything I can do to help? So today I'm going to give you a rundown of what we, the players, can do to help this game grow. Number 1, don't proclaim that the game is dead. First of all, the game is certainly not dead, nor is it dying. The game is still in the top 100 most played games on Steam, and it is objectively not dying. There's this weird idea that a game has to have millions of players to be considered active. The way the servers work in World of Warcraft is totally different these days, but back in 2011 when the game was at its peak, most servers had a population somewhere between 2,500 and 6,000, with the largest servers capping out around 8,000. Not only that, but the daily peak concurrent players was around 1,500 for most servers. I actually played WoW around that time, and I can tell you firsthand that my server never felt dead. So back to Battlerite, the peak concurrent players last weekend was over 16,000. That's 16,000 people playing Battlerite all at the same time. And that's actually the highest it's been since the 17th of December. So although there was a dip around Christmas and New Year, the population has stabilised, and particularly at the weekend there's a very healthy population. I played this game called Albion Online a few months ago. Now that game died fast. You could actually keep track of how many players were active each week in game by looking at the leaderboards for experience gained that week. The game was literally in a nosedive from launch. And the funniest thing is, the developers have actually made it so you can't see the full leaderboard anymore to hide the fact that the game is continuing to nosedive to this day. The numbers in Battlerite have dropped off since launch, but that's quite normal for a new game. The important thing is how quickly the population stabilizes, because after that point the game can start to steadily grow again as it builds a positive reputation. Look at Path of Exile for example. Most people see them as a shining beacon of light in the gaming community, but look at the population after launch. It dropped way lower than Battlerite is right now at one point. And guess what? People at the time were proclaiming that the game was dead. But as we all know now, through some excellent management from Grinding Gear, the game became the legend that it is today. Yes, Stunlock does have the biggest part to play in the future of the game, but we as players need to stay realistic too. The dead game meme can become a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy if people come to Battlerite subreddit and then wrongly assume that the game is in a bad place. But fear not. The game is not dead, it's not dying, and with some good management from Stunlock, we could have a very healthy game for years to come. And I will get into Stunlock's part to play tomorrow. But until then, let's move on with number 2. Don't be a fanboy. This comes in stark contrast to my first point. Being a doomsayer is not very helpful, sure, but blindly looking past any issues the game has and downvoting people who constructively criticize the game is equally unhelpful. Let's try and be realistic. The game is not perfect. The UI could use some work. Stunlock does need to take a more active approach to communicating with the community, and the game is not perfectly balanced. There, I said it. A few weeks ago that would have been a controversial thing to say, which is kind of a ridiculous state of affairs. I'm not saying we should all take to Reddit and start tearing apart everything Stunlock does. I'm just suggesting that we keep a balanced outlook on things. The way we conduct ourselves as a community has a huge impact on the future of the game, and if all Stunlock sees is either doomsaying or rampant fanboyism, they won't know who to listen to. The decisions they make will mostly be decided internally, and we don't truly know what their vision for the game is. But they certainly do listen to us. So let's find some middle ground and stop flipping between verbally abusing the developers one day and then brown-nosing them the next. Moving on to number 3, support broadcasters on Twitch. This might sound like self-promotion coming from a content creator, but honestly, my main thing is YouTube, and what I really want to talk about here is Twitch. YouTube's algorithm is funny. You're unlikely to be suggested Battlerite content unless you've already shown an interest in the game. So it does have its part to play, but outside of really big YouTubers covering the game, it's not the media site that brings in new players to the game. Twitch, on the other hand, is all about total viewers. The more people watching, the higher the game shows up in the browse feature. So keep on watching the regulars like Jolts, Averse, and all the other great streamers for this game, and particularly go and watch Battlerite tournaments. Not only does it help the game, but I would highly recommend watching it anyway. I've said it before, but What better way to up your game than to learn from the best? And finally, let's move on to number 4. Just keep having fun. Seriously, don't worry about the player numbers or anything like that. If you're enjoying the game, just keep enjoying it. If you feel like you have to take a more active approach, then get your friends to play with you, because I'm sure they'll enjoy it too if you are. Ultimately, there are no grand gestures that we, the players, can make to guarantee the success of the game, but we can help with the small stuff. Keep a balanced approach when you talk about the game, be a part of the community, because we have a really great one, and more than anything else, just have fun. Tomorrow I'll be talking a little bit about what Stunlock can do to help. If you love the game, then you'll want to see the game continue to grow, and I guarantee Stunlock wants the same thing. It is their livelihood after all. So let's work together to make this game the success it deserves to be. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then please feel free to subscribe for more Battlerite news, guides, and discussion. Until next time, thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.